So go right into it here. So welcome everybody to the Zoom call, the fourth Thursday of every month. And actually this month is unique in that we have a fifth Thursday next week, I believe. So next week we were going to have Katie Clunan, but she had to bow out. So I do have an open spot, and I think some of you guys, we'll talk about it in a minute, but I do have an open spot for you, David. If you want to officially join, then you're welcome to speak next week. We also have some time on June 13th. And so we'll look at that in a minute. So today's topic is how to spend time on time management. And that's always a dilemma for me. Before we do that, Michael, why don't we go into your motivational minute? I think that's
sure.
I want to hear about first.
Yeah,
I'm ready to be motivated.
You know, it's funny because you and I spoke a little earlier this morning, and since that conversation, an interesting opportunity came up to go into just what I talked about. So for me, in the mortgage business, I report to two masters. I report to the client and looking after the client's every need. And I also am responsible under my federally chartered license to be responsible to the banks or the lending institution who's doing the loan. So I have to balance that line. And as we all know, coming out of 2008 and the financial crisis, there was a lot of misdeeds that took place prior to that in the mortgage industry that caused much of the breakdown that we're all familiar with. So my little quote today is about integrity. And what I'm really trying to say is that, to me, the definition of integrity is doing the right thing, even if no one's looking. And if that character allows to fester within you in everything you do, then I believe that will be instrumental in everyone's success, not only in business, but in personal life as well. And I actually, you know, be quite honest, I received that quality from my father, who practiced integrity throughout his entire life. And I always, if I ever got in a predicament, would ask myself, you know, what would my father do? And my sons are starting to do that now too, so which is really interesting. But what happened this morning was a client called me and said, well, got this situation and I don't necessarily have to tell the whole truth because the lender won't know any better. And of course, that to me is a big red flag. And I went into the scenario with him that I have to do what's right, not only for the client to avoid him going down the trap of mortgage fraud, but I have to do what's right for me as well, to uphold my integrity to my staff, my processors, my lenders. And if it causes the loan to go amiss, so be it. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I straightened him out. And I've been known to do that many, many times over the years. So again, integrity to me is defined as doing the right thing when no one is looking. So you're being true to yourself, and I think it's a great business model and personal character model to roll with for your entire life.
That's awesome. I think you know, something that came to mind when you were speaking is that it's one thing proactively to have a process that includes absolute integrity in it. But I think the harder part is when, as you mentioned, there's another party involved in doing business with you that's compromising their integrity. And that becomes a business decision. And oftentimes, you know, there's a lot at stake, right? You could lose the account, lose the client, people they referred. And so it becomes, you know, a sticky situation. And it's a slippery slope too,
But it's always the right thing to do, regardless of what the outcome is, even if it's negative for you personally or financially, still
right,
the right thing to do.
right, right. So yeah, that definitely is something we should keep in mind. And thank you for sharing that, Mike. And it's a good testament to why you're networking with us. So, all right. So welcome, Katie, Lynette, Rick, welcome. And we have, of course, Portia, David, Rick, and Mike. So nice crowd today. I think this is catching on. And we had someone else join in here with a phone that just has a phone number.
Mary.
Oh, hi, Mary. Good to hear.
Hi. Sorry, I was trying to do it on the computer, but I'm kind of out and about, so I had to go with the phone this time.
Okay. All right. Well, works for us. So what I'll do, Mary, is I'll forward you the handout that I'm looking at, because it'll be a little bit tougher for you not to see it. But so the question becomes, how often should we spend time on time management? And that's something I've struggled with, because it takes time to plan, and especially if you're developing a new process, you're trying to hone in the time management skills. So it's a catch-22, as it mentions here. So this person in the article says 1 or 2 hours a month, and but if you're trying to improve a bad habit, you're obviously going to need to spend more than that. So I think the key thing to remember with time management is that at first it is going to take what seems like an unreasonable amount of time to get your system going, or to change your system. And you can easily get sucked into just planning instead of doing. So the idea is that think of it as leverage. You're basically using a stick to lift a rock that you otherwise would not have been able to lift, using leverage. And that's the way to look at time management, is that a little bit of effort, you get the results if you do it right. So the key thing to ask yourself is, are you losing track of your tasks? And I'm guilty of that, because I love setting tasks. I'm a good task setter, but following up on those tasks, especially in the right order, becomes a challenge. And at the end of the day, I find I have more tasks left than hours in the day. So does anybody have any suggestions or clues? Rick, I knew you would raise your hand. I just knew it. Tell us, enlighten us.
Well, it's not because I'm any particular genius in this area, except that I've lived this very scenario for 40 years of my life. How did I do that? As a lawyer. Guess what lawyers do? They write down everything they do and how much time they spend doing it. We bill by the hour. And that's the only way that we as lawyers are able to keep track of our time, to be able to know what we can bill, what was billable, what was not, and have it organized in a way, or a method that can be organized so that we can bill the client. Now, why is that valuable? Because you can't correct what you don't know is wrong. And this is what we're talking about. What do we know at the end of the month that we can say, am I happy with the results I got from my business this month or this week? Okay, I'm not happy. What do I have to do differently now to get better results than I got this month? Well, you've got to be able to start with, what did I do this month? Because if you don't change what you're doing or what you've done, nothing's going to change. So that means I have to know what I did, and we are all in the same business. The primary amount of our time is spent in business development, acquisition of clients. Because if we don't do that, we've got nothing to do. So the question then becomes, obviously, we have to learn and implement the skills of business development for our particular businesses. But if we think we have done that and we are now in the process of applying those skills and we're not getting the results we want, something has to change. And we can't, and it might be how we're spending our time. It might very well be that we think we're spending our time on those times that will move our business forward, will create the opportunity to share what we have with a client, because that's what it's all about. We have to have the opportunity to let people know who we are, what we do, and how what we do and how we do it can help them. That's where we share who we are and what our products and services are. Getting that opportunity is where we spend most of our time, unless we're lucky and they're falling off the trees. And that doesn't happen to me. I don't know about the rest of you. So anyway, that's my thought. Write down everything you do and how long you took doing it. And then you can have an actual real picture of what you've been doing and make a judgment about whether you're actually using your time productively.
I think it's a good point, Rick, because our mind will play tricks on us and justify what we're doing for whatever reason. But if you have a system of writing down everything, then you're taking away that judgment, for better or worse. And then once it's on paper, I think then you can step away from yourself and look at it as a third party to see if it's productive.
We can spend a lot of time being busy at our work, thinking we're being productive because we're busy. Not true. If we're being busy at maintaining what we have as opposed to doing the things that will move our business forward, that's an issue.
Right. Let me, on that note, I think, and I want to hear from more of you, but I just want to share with you guys what I've done here. This is just a template that I use on Google Sheets, but you could use on just a piece of paper. Is, I had a vision of keeping myself productive is just listing at any point in time my top 5 clients that I'm working on, that I'm active with, and top 5 referral centers, prospects, things that are in progress, and then networking partners, you guys. So you may not be in my top 5 at the moment, but then something triggers it. We have a one-on-one and suddenly you jump into my top 5. And that, I think this sheet here, if I continue filling it out, it will keep me productive, because if I'm busy doing something and I'm not handling one of these people on the list, then something might be wrong here. Would you agree, Rick? We lost your microphone.
All right. I would agree with that, Jack. That's one of the things that we can do to be able to track what's important to us and where our opportunities are.
Okay. Rick Ferrante, you were going to add something.
I just didn't know which Rick you were pointing at. But I can if you want.
Okay, we're gonna start calling mustache Rick versus clean shaven Rick. How about that? All right.
Clean shaven Rick, right? I'll just throw you off by growing a mustache.
Yeah.
So not a ton. I thought that was very well laid out. One of the things I've often heard, I'm assuming a lot of you guys heard the same kind of quote, but there's an element of working on your business versus working in your business. So we spend all the time putting out the fires, doing all those things, and if we don't spend time working on the business, trying to put together processes and be more efficient at the various things that we're doing, whether it's time management or anything else, you really can only do exactly what you're doing today. You only have the exact number of hours that you have, and there's only you. So if you're not working on the business, trying to figure out ways to do whatever you're doing more efficiently, then you're not going to get any farther than what you are in terms of capacity. And I think time management is one of those things. And then I think the only way you're going to actually do that, and then the only way I actually ever do anything like that in terms of working on the business versus working in the business, is to schedule it. To literally physically schedule time and say, on Thursday at 3 o'clock, between 3 and 5 o'clock, I will work on making X whatever process that I'm doing faster, better, whether it's time management or something else. It could be all kinds of things. If I don't do that, then, we could talk about it forever and I'll never actually do it. But if I schedule it, then I don't schedule another meeting in there. I don't schedule another call. I don't do anything. And I actually do that and schedule it like I would any other appointment. And that's my working on my business versus in it scheduled time.
Great point, Rick. Thank you for that. That's a very good thing to remember. scheduling. And if it's not important enough to be on your calendar, then it may not be. You have to reassess how important it is. Then the question is, you know, are you falling behind on your deadlines? Are you staying later and later at work? Are you finding you're doing work at during family quality time or weekends when you should be, you know, doing your personal things? That's the sign that it might not be, that you might need to work on that. Actually, this thing, let me go. Here's some other tips here, and feel free to interject anybody that has something to add. You know, give yourself a quiet hour in the morning, maybe wake up a little bit earlier. I sometimes do that. I wake up before the family. I can find that my thinking is more clear when I don't have a teenager screaming in the background, like, where's my shirt? Where's my lunch? So things like that. Then an ongoing calendar, to-do lists. I don't know about you, I get a satisfaction of, you know, checking the box and seeing it disappear from my list. And then speed reading course. I thought that was kind of interesting. Who remembers Paul Straker? You know, he had that course back when it was cassettes and VCR tapes. I've taken that years ago, and I still remember it today. And then efficient at filing. You know, what I've done that helps me quite a bit is I scan things on the spot. So any document I want to get off my desk, I use my phone to use Dropbox. We all know Dropbox because we have the group Dropbox. And I literally scan it and then crumple up the paper or shred it or whatever. So it's on here, and I make sure I title it that it's easy to recall it later. And then of course Dropbox is on my computer, on my phone, on my you know, all the computers I'm working with, and even if I use someone else's computer, I could log into my account. So that's one way I'd become a lot more efficient at filing, especially receipts and things like that. And exercise, so important. You know, even if you just go out and do a walk, breathe some fresh air. You know, I'm always looking out the window in my office and wishing I was out there. So it's good. Your body will tell you if you listen when it's time to do that, right?
I wanted to say something about exercise. I find that I like to do exercise in the morning.
Yeah, it's a good point. And Lynette, don't you like going around and putting flyers? You like to farm or your area?
I do that. Yeah, I did it this morning, for example.
That's great. That's great to hear. And see that you're killing two birds with one stone. You know, so that you're getting work done at the same time as exercise, which that's a great quality. So, and this is an interesting one. Do your important things first and urgent things later. That's kind of odd. And the theory behind that is the urgent things, you know, those fires, you know, they'll get done because they're like burning you. They're, you know, they are, you know about them and you're ready at all times to do it. But if you do the important things first, you might, then you know that the urgent things will get done anyway. You'll find a way. And but if you do the other way around, the important things could get knocked off. If anyone remembers Stephen Covey, you know, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he had a quadrant, and there are things that are urgent but not really important, but they have to be done. And then there's things that are important but not necessarily urgent. And those could get pushed off and procrastinated. And that's the risk we take. So think about that. Procrastination versus proactivity. So, you know, they're talking about like doing some introspection, look at yourself and be honest with yourself and say, okay, what tricks are my mind playing so that I can't get these things done? And so I've had to be creative. You know, I'm a family man, and I really don't work overtime unless I really, really, really have to. So, you know, when it gets to be like 4 o'clock and I know I've got a lot more work, suddenly I get like twice as productive. I don't know. It's magic. So that's kind of, you know, you might set yourself deadlines, even not imposed deadlines from the outside, but self-imposed deadlines. And you might find that that might work for you. Anybody want to add something that works for them for time management? Okay. We'll keep thinking about that, and then you feel free to email me afterwards too, and I could put it into our newsletter, you know, as a kind of a bullet point list. We also we all have these huge projects, and especially like home remodels and things like that. So breaking them down into tasks. I use Google Tasks, and those tasks have subtasks. So there's like different levels. And so that's one way you can do that, or just do it on paper. And also, don't forget to reward yourself, people. I mean, even a small reward, like, you know, I'm going to go and get a Starbucks if I finish this project. Or I'm going to reward myself with being able to call my best friend as soon as I'm done with this. So that's a great motivator. And we do, you know, that's our human nature, is we want gratification. So create that gratification for yourself. That's all I have on time management. I just wanted to shift over to the speaker list real quick and let you know that, let's see, here we are. So Katie, I think recently told me she has a conflict for the 30th. So Katie, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So let me know if you're able to do the 13th of June or the 20th. Well, the 27th is just a phone call. So the next physical meeting is August 1st.
I can do June 13th.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to put you in there. And if anybody who hasn't spoken in 6 months can do next week, that'd be great. We have Justin Womack, who is Kathy Dell's friend, contact. He's a LinkedIn expert. He's going to be speaking at the Hyatt on the 6th. So this is one of those weeks, months that we have 2 meetings at the Hyatt at once. So don't confuse yourself. That's because the 5th, if we have a 5th Thursday, it's also at the Hyatt. So that's the case next week. And then we'll be back at my office. Katie, you can speak in my office on the 13th. And then Cherie, who's been teaching, gets out of school and can come speak and attend the meetings for that matter on the 20th. We're also dark on the 4th. And our new member, Larry Laffer, speaking on the 11th, and Rick, Mustache Rick, on the 18th. And so let's see here. The other thing I just wanted to show you is the professions we need. And Mike Blaser and Lynette have graciously offered to reach out to these folks here that could be great additions to our group. And David, you actually are the bookkeeper, so we can cross that one off if you join. Okay. And, but these are other, I encourage all of you guys, if you know these professions, please think they'd be a good fit, invite them. And a good time to invite them would be on the 6th when we have a special speaker. You know, as you saw from when Chris McClintock spoke, we had a nice crowd, and it's you know, it's a good time for everybody to get to know each other. So I will send this list as well in the next newsletter, so you have that. And I think that's about it for me. Does anyone have any announcements or?
Jack, would it be possible for, because David, nobody, at least David, be able to tell people what he does, and so yes, we can kind of connect, kind of go around there.
Excellent, excellent. So David, yeah, please, for the folks that didn't get a chance to meet you last time, tell us what you do and a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is David Porter. I just started my business about 6 months ago with the goal to help small businesses succeed by relieving the burden of keeping the books so that they can focus their time and energy on getting back to running their business like they should. I guess I could just talk about some of the services I provide. First, I get my clients set up on an online accounting software, usually QuickBooks Online, and get all of their books up to date. So it really doesn't matter if they have been doing the books themselves, have had someone doing the books for them, or if they just have a big box of receipts that they've been neglecting. I can help them out. So once everything is up to date, I pretty much handle all of their monthly keeping of the books by recording, classifying, reconciling, and reviewing all of their financial transactions. And at the end of every month, I prepare the big three financial statements, which are the balance sheet, the income statement, and the P&L. And the statement of cash flows. Now, a lot of business owners kind of treat these as like throwaway reports, but you can learn a lot by researching the reports, and you can tell a lot about a company by looking at them. So I have like a 60-minute meeting with them and kind of go over the statements with them to see if there's anything that can be improved upon. Right now, unfortunately, at the moment, I do not offer any tax preparation services. But during tax time, I communicate directly with my client's tax preparer to make sure that they have everything that they need. So yeah, those are my basic services. I can also do some add-on services based on clients' needs, like payroll coordination, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and other customized reporting like sales reports. So yeah, my goal is to help small business owners by relieving the burden of keeping the books so that they can focus on running their business.
That's fantastic, David. And is there a particular type of person you want to be referred to besides clients, like other professionals that could help you? I mean, the natural one would be an accountant or CPA, right? Okay.
Right. That's the main one. Let's see if there's any payroll coordinators or anything like that. I can work with them as well. Yeah, I mean anybody that knows anybody looking for a business. Accountants is the number one that would probably be the best if they are not offering bookkeeping themselves.
Okay.
Services themselves.
All right. Awesome, David. Thank you. And to all the members here, I would encourage you to reach out to David to do a one-on-one, either before a physical meeting or on Zoom and or phone. And that way you get to know him better and vice versa. So thank you, David, for explaining that. And
thanks for having me.
We hope to offer the group to offer you not only referrals and leads, but also education like today. And we do an accountability program where you pair up with somebody and see how your activities are going, and that pairs well with the concept of time management that we're talking about today.
Right.
So, all right, wonderful. Let's see. So, who does David not know, and then they can who wasn't at the Chris McClintock meeting that wants to introduce themselves to David? I think
Hi, David.
Hello. Oh, Portia.
Yes. I've been in hiding for a while because I've been a little bit overwhelmed, truth be told. But I welcome, and definitely this is an amazing experience where you definitely get to learn from each other and kind of have fun exploring ideas too.
Yeah.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Mary Johnson, I don't think you've met.
Yes.
Tell
Hi,
us.
David. I'm Mary Johnson, and I work with residential mortgages. So welcome to our group. I'm
Okay.
also the treasurer of the group. I just have been not attending as many meetings, but it's a great group, and I encourage you to attend. And even for myself, I've missed a few, but even connecting today has reminded me of a few things that I need to start implementing again and get back in touch. So I think you'll find this is a very approachable group, and we like to listen and help each other. So welcome to the group.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Great, excellent. And there's another box that says Michael. Is that Michael Forney by chance? That's interesting. Or Mike, you're not calling in on a different line, are you?
Well, I had to sign in twice, so
Oh, that could be why. Okay.
my screen disappeared. So,
I see. I see. Okay.
but I would like to hear from Portia a little bit more about what she does. I'm not familiar with her, so.
Yes, Portia,
Yeah.
do tell.
I'm a newbie kind of too, but just in the experiences that I have had, by the way, I've really enjoyed them. I'm with Secret. It's a skincare and spa company, and they also have nutritionals too, which I haven't really tried. But I transitioned from beauty control after they closed.
We lost your sound. I don't know about others.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, I guess my finger slipped on the mute button. But I'm the Secret Girl. I offer skincare and spa products from the Dead Sea to kind of help you with, I call it defying age, because I'm 46 and I have 2 kids. Typically that can age you, but luckily, since I do have some great products, I can kind of run the opposite direction. Instead of aging, I could go to the Fountain of Youth, which is the Dead Sea, and you don't have to go to the Dead Sea, you can come to me. So that's my little
Nice.
spiel. But I was wondering on this call, because I don't know everybody yet, but what I'm really wanting to kind of mention is I'm just going to put this out there, because I know that it's all about goals for me right now, and finding a way to leverage systems, because I've kind of been inundated and overwhelmed with what happened a month ago, and then I have kids, and I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm trying to get caught up. So I'm definitely looking. I don't know who knows, anybody who knows a little bit more about automation and systems, but I can definitely use that help. I'm just going to put that out there, because that would help me be consistent at making sure I keep in touch with people.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Well, please, anybody here that is skilled at that, please reach out to Portia. And as you know, in networking, it's what you give is what you get, right? What you give. So wonderful. Well, we're all a wealth of knowledge. Each one of us has a background and experience, not just in our own businesses, but in running businesses and being managers of businesses. So please share that. Don't keep it to yourself. Thank you to those today that really contributed, and your wonderful advice. I've written it down. I'll put it in the newsletter, and schedule one-on-ones with everybody, with people, so that you have a chance to leverage the time that you're spending today with the group and get results. And that's what it takes. I firmly believe that. I think the group meetings are great for getting a foot in the door, but to get your whole body in, you need to do one-on-ones. So
Jack, I wanted to say something before you dismiss the meeting.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention that I volunteered for a senior concern run.
Thank you.
And so you might say something about that too.
Yeah, thank you, Lynette. Perfect cue. So senior concerns is sort of,
Thanks, Lynette.
yeah.
I was going to say, thanks, Lynette. I met with somebody at Senior Concerns, and they really needed volunteers, so I know they really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I think their 9th year, right, or something like that. But it's a great organization, Senior Concerns. My son and I used to do Meals on Wheels together. It's really affecting our local community, those that are homebound for one reason or another. And it means a lot. It can make a big, big difference. So please consider volunteering. It doesn't have to be that day. It could be beforehand, stuffing bags or whatever. But also it's been very fulfilling volunteering that day because you're a bunch of runners, and runners are just people that are high on life, and you'll catch a little bit of that on that day. So look for an email from me. I'll send another one, but that Katie forwarded to me directly from Andrea, who's the CEO of that organization, and it's right here in Westlake, right across from the Westlake Hyatt that we meet. Okay. Anybody else have any last minute words of wisdom?
Have a great Memorial weekend, everybody.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Think about me. I'll be running the Ojai to Ventura Marathon on Sunday, my first one.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
With my
Good
brother.
Good.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah.
All right.
Talk about getting exercise in.
Right on. Right
That'll
on.
do it for you.
Have a great rest of the week, everyone, and weekend. And we will catch you next week at the Hyatt. So have a good one, guys.
That's good. Thanks.
Good to Bye, everybody.
All right, take care. Bye.